Welcome back to Broken Electronics. I'm Lee, and it's a pleasure to have you here with me today. What we're going to do today is to revisit a machine. If you remember back to just before Christmas, I took a Facebook Marketplace expedition and picked up a couple of computers, sort of a rescue operation. The one that's probably in the saddest condition. This Revision A PowerMac G3 blue and white. No handle back here. A lot of things missing inside. We'll open it up and you'll see all of that. Or you can go back to the initial video. Alright, so things that are missing. The hard drive tray. Now, I'm imagining that this thing had at least 2, maybe 3 hard drives. The IDE boot drive, which would have been here, marked 3. Oh, well, you can see that. And a couple of SCSI drives, which would have required a SCSI PCI card. And whoever was getting rid of this, it was not the person I bought it from, somebody prior to that who ended up giving it to him. Rather than unscrew those drives, he simply took the entire tray out, drives intact. At least that's my guess. All right. And I'm kind of guessing that too because the PCI slot covers were all gone, the screws were all gone. So there was at least that one PCI card and probably a couple of others that were in there. Oh well. So we can put this in. Oh yeah, the broken handle. We got one of those. And the 2 hex screws that are used to hold that in. Alright, now the... whoever been going over this even took the screw out from the graphics card. So, yeah, I put that in place. That's already there. I also put in 512 megabytes of RAM, which is what it's going to have, at least for the moment. One of the things that I am intending to do is to perform upgrades now. Now, so far we've just talked cosmetics. What I want to do is to see where we can get the machine spending absolutely no money, using only parts that I happen to have around on hand. For example, PCI cards. Here's one, 3 USB 2.0 ports to supplement the 2 1.1. That's a handy, important thing to have in a vintage Mac. And 2 additional FireWire 400 ports. And on the back, an internal FireWire 400 header and an internal USB header. So we could, if we wanted to add additional storage in, we could use those, and it would certainly behave far better than the SCSI cards probably would have. All right. Now, in addition to that, since I have it around, I have a PCI card with 2 FireWire 800 ports and another FireWire 400. So this machine's going to have tons of FireWire 400. Not a bad thing to have. All right, now, when I booted it up just to see what was going on with the machine, you may note that I put a 40 gigabyte hard drive in. Actually, I had to go through a couple of different ones to find one that actually had operating systems on it. Now, I happen to have, this is an older 128 gig SSD kicking around. I have taken the opportunity of pre-partitioning this with the idea of installing operating systems, since there will be no operating systems. And of course, since SSDs are all SATA connections. We have our SATA to IDE adapter, complete with Molex. So we will be able to use this card. All right. Now, one other thing. The machine's got a ZIP 100 drive, which was very, very common in machines of that era. You know, early 1999, this one came from. The problem, though, is there's a disk stuck in there, and it will not come out. It does not mount up. It doesn't do anything. So, if you look back in the days, this was one of the big failings of the iOmega zip drives. Disks getting stuck in the drives and not being able to remove them. You pretty much, in most cases, have to take the drive apart to get the disk out. So I'm going to replace the zip drive. We've got this one. This was the drive I had originally was going to put in the sawtooth for the world's most powerful sawtooth. But I replaced this drive with a ZIP 250 drive that I had. So we might as well put this ZIP 100 into the blue and white. Hey, it's something. And finally, there's no PRAM battery in there. So let's put a PRAM battery. One thing I haven't done, I probably should have, just go through the box of RAM and see if I can find anything that will go into the machine. It's got that 512 megabytes in there, which will function. But it would be nice to bring it up to its optimum 1 gigabyte. All right, so let's take this poor, sad, broken up machine that's come to us from early 1999 and get it functional again. If you want to see that process, please stay tuned. Okay, let's start out, before we even open it up, getting this handle on there. All right. Honestly, just doing that makes me feel a whole lot better. It bothered me. Now, the acrylic on the back of the case is cracked. I could replace that too. Maybe I will someday. But bigger fish to fry now. All right. Let's open her up. Sure you've got a good field of vision. Maybe we'll bring you a little closer. All right. Now, I have already taken out that 40 gig hard drive. Oh, spare piece of plastic. Let's work this tray in. Don't absolutely need the tray. The machine works without it. No. Okay, there we go. All right, and that's in place. Now I will get a screw to go in there. at some point, but we don't need to worry about that right now. All right, now since we're in this general vicinity, we need, of course, to connect our drive. There we go. And Molex is in. And then get the drive connected. There we go. Okay. And for the moment, that's just going to sit there. And actually, I find what I found in the past, very often the action of opening and closing the doors can disconnect the adapter. It's actually works better with the SSD just to let it hang free there. Okay, continuing to move in this direction. Let's put the USB 2 card in there. All right. That's in place. Get a screw. Right, that's in. Now the FireWire 800 card. Right. Another screw. Slot cover. At least until I might think of something else to put in there. And you can't put IDE cards in there and connect IDE drives, and that would get past the 128 megabyte limitation. Okay, well that's going to look a lot better from the rear, not having those holes gaping open. All right, lest I forget, get our PRAM battery. There we go. And now, all right, let's let you see this a little bit better. Okay, get that off. Now, and the two screws here. I just don't want to budge. Tell me I'm going to have to use liquid wrench on this thing. Okay, that one turned. One. Nope. All right, this is going to be a battle. All right, stay tuned. Okay, I got it. It wasn't really that bad. I simply Okay. That really doesn't want to unplug. There we go. Okay. Molex. Get the IDE from the zip drive. My Molex connectors really don't want to come out. And the problem here with the zip drive is the optical drive is in the way. All right. Let me see here. Grab it with these. No, that's not helping. Okay, again, I think I should take care of this off camera, so stay tuned. What ended up working was just pulling the whole enclosure as far as I could. Then I was actually, that dislodged the Molex a little bit. Okay. Needs a smaller screwdriver. Isn't this fun, though? All right. I should have remembered that. I made the same mistake. All right. Keep these separated. Oh, screw on the other side too. All right. Now it dislodges pretty easily. And you can see clearly that zip disc that is stuck in there, and it will not come out. I even tried grabbing it with pliers, and it just doesn't come. So, I'm just curious, just after all of that, to see what's on the darn thing. All right. Put this in the right way. Okay. And the holes line up pretty easily. Here is the appropriate screwdriver. Close one. Two. I have no idea how well you can see, but 3. And 4. Okay, now the big hassle with this. Getting it back in. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, what a pain. Oh. Ha! Put it in the right way. Much easier. Okay, now let's see. At this point, can we get the Molex to go back in? Okay, that's done. IDE. Really? Okay. And that's in there. And then Molex for the optical drive. We kind of need this optical drive. Huh. Hopefully it works. I already took the optical drive out of the donor machine. Alright. Are you in there? You're in there. Okay, and then this little cable. Right, it goes in a whole lot easier than it went out. Alright. Now, hopefully everything stayed connected. And back to the big screwdriver, which is not that. Oh, actually, it is that. Okay. Right. And then finally, the face plate. No, it's not quite. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, so then, that's the sum total. And I think at this point, we're just going to close her up. Closed fine, and see if it's actually working. Stay tuned. All right, let's have a look. Huh. That's a funny sound. Okay, lights on the monitor. Current input timing is not supported by the monitor display. Okay, something is very wrong. I'm going to troubleshoot. Stay tuned. Alright, this is turning into a much longer video than I thought. Now, if you're wondering why I seem to be booted into an operating system all of a sudden when I put a hard drive that had been completely, an SSD that had been completely erased in there, the obvious troubleshooting that you have to go through when you've done upgrades and the upgrades are not working is to undo your upgrades and then add them back in one at a time. So I took everything, well, I didn't take the zip drive out because that was a pain. I just left all of that in. But I took out the PCI cards, I took out the hard drive, I took out the SSD and put the hard drive back in just to make sure that it would boot, and it of course did. So then adding things back, I have not yet put the SSD back in, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. This is the problem. There's some kind of conflict with this USB card. So what I did was to swap out another combination USB FireWire card, and that appears to be working. So we can look here in About This Mac, go to System Profiler. We look at our PCI cards. There's our USB. And we have two entries for 1394, which is FireWire, of course. If we go into FireWire, the first bus listed up to 800 megabits a second, so that card is there. Now, strangely, we're seeing nothing under USB, both the two built-in USBs, but I'm not going to worry about that. We'll test that card later on. All right, and I think the logical thing to do at this point, since this has already gone on much longer than I was planning, I will make a separate video about installing the various operating systems. I know operating system installs have not been the most popular thing on this channel, but I enjoy them, so there you go. And then maybe a follow-up video once everything is set up and test out all of the things that are in there. So anyhow, the problem basically solved. So, on that note, be good to other people. Other people need and deserve it. We can make this a better world if we try. Be good to yourselves, because you deserve to appreciate that better world once we have accomplished it. Since it's not a better world yet, please take very, very good and careful care in these very difficult times. All right, we'll have, I would think, a couple more videos on this blue and white, and a great deal of other things coming up too, once we've got that taken care of. So until those things do come up on the channel, this has been Broken Electronics.